The ego is always looking for an opportunity to protect itself, especially if during the early stages of development, so the younger years of an adult person, if they didn't receive the experience of being protected by another, then that space and time that was designed for them to experience, that thing, they later on in life end up having to reparent themselves so that they can experience that protection. So when an adult person is put in a situation where they feel like they have to protect themselves, that is actually what is happening. It's the younger part of you in your psyche that is trying to pass through that lower state of consciousness and elevate into your God mind, the mind of Christ. And so protecting yourself or feeling the need to protect yourself is an illusion. And let me tell you why. Say something happens and you are wronged, and you know you're wronged. Like, this is a just situation. You were done unfairly. What you experienced, like there's no double-mindedness about it. Say and then you decide to say defend yourself. Maybe you stand up for yourself in some way, and you gave someone money, so then you take the money back, or you whatever it is, access denied, right? Whatever you do, you sue them, whatever it is, right? When we take that action to defend ourselves because we feel like we are right in our own eyes, that is when we are at the most precious part of the lesson that the I Am is giving us. So this is the lesson. Before you jump to try and stand up for yourself and show that ain't nobody gonna do me like that, like an RESPECT, tell me what it means to me, right? Or right? So before you jump to that conclusion, I want you to roll it back even further to where you planted, where you sowed the spirit of unjust, I guess we could call it, the energy of unjust. Because the only way for you to reap it is because it was sown by you first. There had to be some part that you played in said situation that, if you can roll it back to your intention, what was going on in your mind, maybe because there's some way it's not working out on the outside, because when it started on the inside, when you were cultivating it, when you were developing it in the kingdom of your mind and your heart, of your will and your emotions, when it was in the kingdom, the part you likely missed was seeking it rightly. When we seek something rightly in the kingdom, because what you're seeking on the inside of your imagination is going to manifest. It's going to be added to you. That's the way the planet works. Yeshua the Christ has been telling us that, for obviously over 2022 years. And so there are a lot of people explaining it a lot of different ways. But the point is, whatever you're seeking is going to be added to you. It's going to show up. And so it's going to be really important that you seek it rightly. So before you go to defend yourself, was there a moment where before you did said thing that then resulted in said thing that then resulted in said thing, etc., etc., etc.? Were you like rushing, or did you feel like some sort of pressure to do it? Or were you trying to, do it to prove a point or to show something? Or were you just really excited and anxious to do it? Don't be anxious for nothing. No thing. Because the energy, the spirit of anxiety is married to the energy of fear. And then, I mean, all of them. And then we have the perfect love side, right? That all of those energies bow down to. Bow down, bitches. And so, yeah, if you take it back and you think to yourself about what was going on with me, did I give them that money because I was hoping that I would get this, was I too attached to an outcome? And if you can roll it back to where your intention was, you will be able to have not only grace for that situation, but mercy. And mercy always triumphs over judgment. Okay? And the one who is able to give mercy receives mercy. Okay? And so, yeah, before you go to defend yourself for your right cause, your just cause, step back and see, okay, what was going on in my heart that resulted in the outcome I am now experiencing? Because everything you're experiencing in your life has everything to do with you and not anybody else. I don't believe that hype that a person can do. No, what a person thinks about you, they create for themselves. And other individuals who are small-minded or immature-minded or young-minded, maybe it's a younger person in body, or maybe it's an older person that's just still got a very young mentality. But those people can influence those people because they're influencing their mind, they're controlling their mind, they're manipulating their mind. They're trying to make them become one mind with them. So here, we are pursuing the Christ mind, the mind of God, right? And so, but there are other people who want you to think like them. Them people ain't willing to pay the price for you to continue to have them thoughts and be creating like them. And so, those of us who are followers of the way, those of us who have the Christ mind, it's going to be really important that you are checking your intention and you're checking your motive. Because if it shows up as an issue in your life, it's because it originated as an issue in the heart space. And the issue could have just been like, man, I really needed that. Well, God supplies all your need according to his riches and glory. But when you want to play God and not God, man, human, just God. No, you're in this body. You have restrictions, right? I am in this beautiful form, and it is not a restriction for me. I guess that would be the wrong word. 11:11 may be significant to you. But yeah, but God is invisible. God is spirit. And so you got to let God be God. So even if you originated in the origination of what now is the issue that now you're having to defend yourself for because you were handled maybe wrong, you were handled unjustly. If you started out like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it because I need, that's you planning wrong. You can't get there from there. I hope this helps. I want to leave a solution as well, because I've talked a lot about a problem. And so what you're going to do from this point is, when the opportunity presents itself for you to defend yourself to the person. So this is like the scene in the gospel where we see in like the movies where Peter chops off the ear, and Yeshua HaMashiach explains to him how what you sow, you reap. So if you live your life this way, that's what unravels for you. You know, if you live by this code, you're gonna die by that code, because you're sowing into that code. And that's the way creation works. That's why creation is groaning and moaning. We are inside of creation, the same way we in our form are seeking in the kingdom and then seeing. Creation, when the scripture talks about her anticipating the sons of God to be revealed and things like that, well, that's because she's looking on the inside. Some in culture call creation Mother Gaia, some call creation the universe, some call creation the world, right? But likewise, the form of this planet that we see the outside of also has an inside, what we could call a consciousness, what we could call a mind frame. That's what a matrix is. It's a mind frame, a frame of thinking, a programming of such. Humans have a certain mind frame that we come in. Animals have a certain mind frame that they come in with. And so when the animal is looking at the bird, the animal is seeing something different than the human looking at the bird. It's because the matrix is different. So the construct of the way the human is supposed to think is different. But the solution is going to be when the opportunity presents itself for you to stand up for yourself. You realize that, oh, okay, if I continue on this path of doing something on my, because that's how it started. It started wrong. The only way to rectify that is to cut it off. The axe is already laid at the root of the tree. And because that's the way it was sown, it's not going to bear the fruit that you want. So this is where you allow the I am to step in and you humble yourself. So that's the difference. The ego is going to want you to protect and stand up and explain why you were done wrongly, because you were. But that's the thing, you know it. And the one that did you wrong knows it too. But you also know where you started, your reason for even being in the situation to begin with. And if you can humble yourself in that and accept that, you know what, I take accountability for this situation because it's an issue for me, and every issue comes from my heart space. And then you seek God, the I am. All right, so that's you releasing the need to now make something happen, and you stand back and you watch what the Lord brings to you. When Peter was cutting off the ear, he was still in the place where he hadn't learned the lesson that he had to be publicly rebuked for before, which was you don't get in the way of God. Right? And Yeshua the Christ wasn't going to let anybody get in the way of what the Father has sent him to do. He was there to do the meat of the one who sent him. He's 12 years old and he's telling his parents. He's like, don't you know I have to be about my Father's business? He's 30 years old. He's telling his friend, don't you know I got to be about my Father's business? And so he tried to tell Peter, you're not concerned with the things of God. You still concerned with the things of man. There's too much ego going on. And if Peter had gotten the lesson before, then he wouldn't have cut off dude's ear. He would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, this is all right. That's the moment when your life flashes before your eyes, where you've already seen what's going to play out before it does. So then guess what? You become the person with the popcorn. And so 1717 may be significant for you. But what I want you to know is that if you can stop and now watch what the Lord does, knowing that, hey, I get it. I could have moved differently. Next time, if you move differently, you will not have that result. Next time, you are going to move differently if you listen to this video.